seconds. Hey everybody, how are you? How's everything going? It is our weekly What Would Jeff Do? It's Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. How's everybody doing? If you're brand new to my world, my name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training.
Who the heck am I?
And you're Linda Gellman of the Gellman family. And every week I do a Q&A. The reason why I do a Q&A is I'm going to actually turn this around. There we go. Is it upside down? Oh, we don't want to do that. I guess turn it back around. All right. I was just like the way the camera was the other way. Mm-hmm. So every week what I do is I do a Q&A show. And the reason why I do a Q&A show because so many people are struggling with their dogs every single week. And I want to be able to help with as much free content as possible. If you're brand new to our world, you can always go to solidcaninetraining.com, solidcaninetraining.com. The link is actually in my bio. And we specialize in aggression rehab and behavior modification. The show is based on usually how to get dogs to stop unwanted behaviors. So you can hear me talk a lot about punishment. If you're brand new to my world, you should know that obviously punishment is not abuse. Dogs get rewarded for things we want them to do, and they have to be punished for things that we don't want them to do. Yes, I've considered a mic. I have, but then thank you, and also better camera equipment. Yes, I have. But for some reason, this seems to be still doing okay. People seem to be hearing all my stuff. But yes, I have. If I go to really nice equipment, like a mic, and if I go to nice cameras, and I do good production quality, I'm going to charge for this. So, and that's also in the works as well, is charging for it. So it's incredible how I'm still able to help, so many people with half-ass equipment. But yes, I've thought about it. Here we go. Linda, go ahead.
I moved Kennel out of the bedroom. Is place okay to do in there while I'm in there during the day?
Yeah, but place is not going to be in your kennel. So kenneling and place are different. So what I would do is I would get a separate placemat just not to confuse the dog. So get a little bit of a dog bed or a blanket or anything like that and just put that anywhere that can move. So next.
How can I leave my puppy at home or even in a separate room?
Well, if when you say puppy, define puppy, but you want to probably, whenever you're not home supervising your dog, what you want to do is have it in a crate. Next.
Good evening, Linda and Jeff. It's been a while. Pray that you all are staying warm up there. That's a Yankee woman. Hey, yep, Kim. Thank you.
We got heat. We got heat.
I'm all wooled up.
We got heat and a very high utility bill. Next.
How do you train the no command with an e-collar?
Well, you can training the word. The no has to have value. So whenever you say no, you want there to be an intolerable consequence. So you would say no first, wait 1 or 2 seconds, and then you can use your remote collar at a level that it's intolerable to the dog, so they understand that what they just did you don't want them to do. When it comes to obedience training, though, we be careful at the beginning of when you say no until the dog understands it. If you're trying to get the dog to stop an unwanted behavior, such as jumping up on people, eating poop, getting in the litter box, fence fighting, jumping up on counters, that can be intolerable level right off the bat at a high level. But when it comes to like the dog doesn't do a proper down or sit or place, you're still in the teaching mode. So be careful on how you do that. Next.
Hey guys, great to see you. Date night, awesome, I'm sure.
Yes,
it was awesome.
Date night's always great. Next.
What is the first lesson to do with your dog when getting the prong collar?
Well, it's just the first lesson. It's just keep in mind that tools are just all they do is they just communicate the training. So you don't need a prong collar to do any of this stuff. But if you're going to use a prong collar on a dog, the best thing to do is to introduce the prong collar exercise, which is on my YouTube channel. Next.
5-month gets off place when I'm out of sight. How to work him up to that?
Well, what you want to do is you want to have a leash on the dog and a prong collar on the dog, and you would say the word no, give a leash pop, if that's assuming the dog understands it, and then have the dog go back to it. Or you can put the dog on a tie back and you can still say no. But leaving a dog in place and then leaving the room is it's I don't want to say advanced training because it's not advanced, but it's more advanced than being placed within the room. Next.
How to teach out.
I use a remote collar. I say the word out, and then just use a remote collar stem. And we did that. I do every one of my seminars. I do that. I did it this seminar. I just saw the footage. I'll probably put it together, but I've got a video on out. Next.
I have a Mastiff. The extra skin around the neck is allowing the prong collar to slip down. Advice?
Make it snugger. Take a link out. take a link out. And make sure you're not using anything bigger than a 3 millimeter. Next.
Hi, what can I do if my dog doesn't eat kibble? No food drive for training.
Don't feed it unless you're training. So use the dog's food drive. So don't feed the dog out of a food bowl and then use food to train the dog. So use the daily food for the training. So it's called utilizing the dog's food drive. Next.
Is using a laser for a dog to chase bad?
Yeah, it is. What you'll do is you're probably going to end up with a very neurotic OCD behavior type dog who chases shadows and lights. So please stop. Next.
Hold on a second. I just slid down here.
Next.
Hold on, please. I'm working on it.
Yep.
Okay. Can you teach heel with a slip lead?
Sure. You can teach heel with a shoestring. You can teach heel with a piece of string. We don't, because we like to leverage tools because owners can't. So owners can. So, we can teach, heel with a healing stick. We can teach heel with just spatial pressure. But, to us, owners are struggling. So tools have advanced to a way where you can use them to advocate for the dog and make it easier for the owner. So we choose to use tools. Next.
Working with a dog that randomly has started to use the bathroom inside. Lack of leadership?
No, just it's not a leadership issue. Dogs piss and poo inside because they're not being supervised and they don't understand the house training concept. So it's not lack of leadership, it's lack of eyes on the dog. That's what it really boils down to. Next.
Do you think that pit bulls are genetically predisposed to aggression?
No, I do not. Next.
Dog at times will just lock up her front feet on walks. Basically, she refuses to go on at times. Okay. And you know what would happen is if you unhook the leash, I bet you the dog would start spinning around and running. Not spinning around. I was looking at another question. The dog would actually run and play. So all the dog is doing is saying no. That's the dog's no. It's like, I'm not moving. So we see that a lot. So what you're going to do is, you being a proper leader and you being the handler, you're just going to encourage your dog to keep moving. And how do you do that? You can do that with leash pressure. If you want to do slow leash pressure, you can do that. Or if you can give a little bit of a pop, you can do that. But I assure you, your dog will start walking. It's just the dog saying, I don't really want to walk right now. And most dogs are, if their dog is just physically able to do it, just have them do it. Next. A dog that is good at recall with remote, if there is non-compliance, would correct at a punish level?
Only if the dog understands it. Remember, what I don't want people to do is just get a remote and just push buttons, because what will happen is you can actually send your dog away. They need to understand what that feeling means. So what you have to do is make sure there's a long line on the dog and train the dog how to be punished, how to react to a punishment. You have to train a dog how to react to a punishment, or else the dog can actually do the opposite of what you want it to do. Next.
Dog isn't aggressive anymore, but always turns his butt to not allow sniffing during grief. What would you do?
I'd leave it alone. Next.
I have an Alaskan Malamute, and she's too friendly. Even if other dog is furious, she doesn't understand.
Well, a lot of dogs just don't have good greeting or social skills. I'd rather have the dog be overly friendly than the alternative to that. So, but if your dog isn't picking up dog signals, then that's another thing. That's another thing. So how do you do that? Guide your dog with a leash. Next.
Have you seen dogs act suspicious of people with trouble walking? Mine grumbles at some elderly people.
Yes, yeah, I was just going to say elderly people before the question was even answered. Absolutely, they do that. Oh, that's why they don't like a lot of toddlers, people that are drunk or under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The elderly people, it's that instability stuff. So if your dog is grumbling or lunging or barking, you would actually have to correct that. Next.
It's instability and instability.
There you go. Next.
Hi guys, thanks again.
Oh, you're welcome. Next.
I'm going to click on this. It's going to go crazy. Question. My dog is terrified with convenience store, but was okay as a baby. What do I do? I know.
Okay, I see how you do it. Well, your dog was never a baby. Your dog was a puppy. So let's clarify that. And I say that specifically. I know you probably meant it, but the humanization of dogs is one of the worst things that's happening right now in our industry. So chances are what happens is why is your dog not good? For many, many reasons. It could be lack of socialization. It could be the sounds, the smells. It could have had a bad experience. that you just didn't catch. So what you do is you would just, leash on the dog, bring the dog in. You can do reassociations if you want to. A lot of people, what they do when their dog goes through a fear state is they encourage it by trying to coddle the dog. So I'm not quite sure what you're doing, but your dog absolutely can get over that issue by you just saying, hey, we're going to do this. Let's go. Next.
In the cold and snow weather, how do you get your pets to go potty?
They go outside and they go potty. So if you live in an area that's cold and wet, they're going to have to get over that, and they're going to have to learn how to do it. So you bring them outside, they go to the bathroom. That's how we've always done it. I mean,
they stay out till they
go. Next.
My dog is super spazzy all the time. Ideas on how to keep calm. Food drive super high, too high.
Then don't use food. So what you want to do is you want to do this. Duration work in place. Okay? So look, see these two dogs right here? Okay? Those dogs have got intense food drive. They're high drive working dogs. They're not tired and they're not lazy. And it's not because I'm a dog trainer. It's because I've taught them how to do duration work. All right? So let's do that. Next.
How can I train my dog not to bark at people walking by the window, but still bark at intruders?
Okay, you're not going to have an intruder, so you won't have an intruder. So you get an alarm. This is what you do. You punish barking. So you can do a bark collar or remote collar. You won't have an intruder. If you have an intruder, your alarm system will activate. And once your alarm system activates, you grab your gun, and then you are and then you will neutralize the threat. If that ever happens to you, what's going to happen, though, are people going to constantly walk by the window, so you punish it. All right, next.
Dog is afraid of wood floor. Been working on walking heel with prongs. Still afraid to walk by herself.
Okay, so keep at it. What you can also do is take the dog's daily dog food and spread it out on the wood floor, and it's going to love the wood floor. It'll build up its confidence. Next.
Learn so much from your videos. Y'all take time out of your day to answer our questions.
Yes, we do, and thank you for showing your appreciation, because it is very well appreciated. Next.
My dog likes to lick a lot. What does that mean?
It could be a lot of different things. I would check its, get a blood work panel done on it and see if it's got any issues medically, but chances are it's just licking salty things or things that taste good to a dog. I just find it annoying. But I would check out medically, make sure your dog is okay, and your vet can actually help you with that. Not the behavioral part, the medical part. And if you don't want it to lick something, you would just correct it for licking. Next.
Hi, my Shih Tzu keeps jumping on me nonstop and biting like crazy.
Okay, that's a really easy fix. Look up something called a bonker. A bonker is a towel. You wrap up the towel so it looks like a small loaf of bread. What you'll do, it's a punisher. You will say, when your dog is jumping up on you, you will say the word no. And then in about 1 second, you will take the towel and very firmly throw it at the dog. Yes, I'm telling you to throw a towel, a cotton towel, at your dog. It's called a punisher. What will happen is your dog will probably go, ow, and run away. Don't worry. You didn't mess your dog up. Your dog will be fine. If your Shih Tzu was jumping up at my child, biting it, I assure you the consequence would be higher than a towel. So we have a responsibility as dog owners to stop our dogs from these dangerous behaviors. All right, next.
It doesn't look like a loaf of bread.
Next.
Looks like a rolled up towel. When can I begin to use prong collar and or remote collar on my 4-month-old Cane Corso? Thanks.
Dude, now you're all set. You're all set. Your dog's old enough. Next.
When are you coming to Brisbane, Australia?
As soon as I find a location. Next. Well, 6 months after I find a location so I can promote it. I love Brisbane. Next.
Puppy, 7 months, whines loudly in next room with doors closed.
So what you can do is you can use a remote collar to stop whining. Next.
My 2 dogs bark at anything. How do I stop it?
Barking at anything? Oh, a remote collar. Next.
Dog drops to the ground on her back when I approach her. Submissive. How to fix?
Leave it alone. Also, get a check in with your energy. I mean, if you're being calm, if you're being calm, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. I'd rather have your dog doing that than biting you when you come in the room. So it's not the worst thing. Next.
What if the puppy does pee in the house when greeting people?
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. So what you're gonna have to do is it's usually most likely it's excitement pee. So having excitement pee is really, really stressful for dogs but also for us humans. So what you're gonna have to do is no loud voices, no high excited voices. Have the dog just like leave the dog alone, have it just hang out in a crate or hang out in place, and for a while make sure nothing is excited. Next.
My dog is house trained, but when the woman I got him from comes, he wheezes on her, I think, shoes.
Yeah, it's all excitement stuff. All these dogs with excitement pee, you have to keep them, unfortunately, right now, non-excited. Submissive pee is not my expertise at all. We don't get a lot of submissive peers in. So what I would do on that particular thing is YouTube a lot of videos on that. That's one thing we do not get a lot of. Next.
Can I use the e-collar to stop barking versus the automatic bark collar?
Yes, you can. Next.
Should I punish my dog if there is a lag when completing an obedience command?
All depends on how many repetitions that you've done of the command. But at some point, in order to get compliance, you have to do a punishment for the lack of compliance. Then the dogs start doing their stuff pretty quick. Next.
Fireworks were very bad for my dog on New Year's.
Yeah, they were.
Now any sound like that freaks her out. Help, 70 pounds.
So what you can do is you can start doing a counter conditioning protocol. You can start using a soundtrack from like YouTube. And what you can do is you can start playing it at a low level to get your dog conditioned to it. But if your dog freaks out around fireworks, this is what you can do. Any fear-based stuff such as fireworks or thunder or anything like that, you can actually stop the physical act of it. So if your dog starts going nuts by spinning around, by barking, by running to the door, by trying to flee, I got an itch on my nose. What you can actually do is you actually can correct/punish the fleeing. Everyone's like, oh, so you punish fearful dogs? Well, the act of fleeing you have to, because if you don't, the dog can jump out a window, run away, harm itself, get hit by a car. So yes, you do. So what you do is you do that, and then you put your dog in the duration place. A duration thing would be a down or a place command. Then the dog learns how to deal with it. And just remember, guys, if you're just tuning in, all of these answers need about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes to answer, but I'm doing them in 15 seconds. So there's a lot more to dog training than just what I'm answering here. That's why you go to our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, our website, our Instagram. I've got tip of the day. There's so much free content we got out there. I'm giving you a very small answer in the scope of things. If you're just tuning in, my name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. That's the name of the website, and that's a funnel to all the different free platforms that we offer. Next.
Does out need to be followed by a correction like no? Does dog like no does? Dog still eating food off floor?
Then yes, you would say, I wouldn't say out for food off floor. If you don't ever want your dog to eat anything off the floor, you would say no, not out. Next.
Looking forward to seeing you in March.
Awesome. Probably in Providence.
What are some of the biggest issues you see with sibling puppies? Things to watch out for, prevent?
Sibling puppies probably means that you got them at the same time. So that's going to be, all that's going to be is harder for the owner to train. It's hard to train two dogs at once, let alone siblings. Probably the biggest issue is if you don't separate them, is separation anxiety, and they rely too much on each other. Next.
Earliest age to start remote collar training?
You can start that at, thanks, Ellen.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can start that remote collar training. You can start at 14 weeks old. Next.
If I can find a location to host, will you come to Southeast Georgia?
Yes, next.
2-year-old Pitty is acting out after bringing a new puppy home, showing dog aggression, etc. Advice? I'm
not surprised. That always happens. What you want to do is advocate for both dogs. Please don't let that puppy get attacked. You'll end up with a what you're going to do is you're going to end up with a dog that's now afraid of other dogs, and it's going to lash out. So make sure what you do is keep that dog, the older dog, make sure it's in place, or it's in a down, it's on a leash, and you want to make sure that you keep them separate for now and advocate for them. But it looks like I'm getting you're not getting all the information. Next.
My dog hates to have nails clipped or ground. Any help?
Watch a YouTube video on that. That's not my level of expertise at all. Next.
Dog has very bad anxiety when I leave. At times she can manage and other times breaks down.
So watch my video on separation anxiety on YouTube. Next. Hold on one second. My Aunt Viola, you're a well-known breeder with references, but the problem is you're not a nice person. So I don't really give a shit about you. So if you don't like the information that I give, do your own Periscope. But nice people don't go on other people's Periscopes and like comment that their information is wrong. My information is not wrong. I'm glad that you're a well-known breeder. I'm glad that you have references, but guess what? I don't give a shit. Like, who cares? Good for you. Next. Sorry, guys. Just like, who gives a shit?
P.S. The person's not on here to
hear
you.
It's like,
it's even funnier.
It's like, who cares? Next. Sorry, guys. That was like 2 questions we could have answered. You know what I mean? I'll stay on later because of that. Next. Sorry.
My blue heeler doesn't know how to be pet. He's a spaz.
Yeah, I know. That's so difficult when that happens, too. So what you're going to have to do is teach the dog duration work and then pet the dog. No voice, though. Don't use your voice. Just use physical touch. So this is what you have to do. Don't go, good boy, good girl, and pet. Pick one. Just pet. Next.
How to deal with the dog being overexcited and peeing on the floor every time a friend comes in.
Why we have all these pee things, guys? I don't have a lot of good information on excitement pee. Next.
Sometimes I forget my bonker in the house. Use a loose leash for a quick correction.
You could put a leash pop. I wouldn't use a leash to use as a bonker though. Next. I mean, if a dog was charging me, I would. Like if it was a dog was charging me or something like that, an off-leash dog, I would absolutely take the leash and use it to whack the dog. But for obedience training or behavior modification of my own personal dog or a client dog, I wouldn't do that at all. Next.
I saw your post about Ronan. Does he comply with obedience commands? What are you expecting for him? What are your expectations?
Your follow-up on that was because you also have a husband as an Anatolian Shepherd. Ronan is sort of like a house dog, and he's a dog at the training center. Ronan came to me highly dog aggressive and human aggressive. I put up a post about someone said, oh, is he obedience trained? He's not really well obedience trained. He can be highly obedience trained. That's not why he's not obedience trained. My level of expectation of Ronan is just to hang out, never be aggressive towards a human, never be aggressive towards another dog, have basic compliance of like, get your butt over here, lion, or get out of here, did I say lion? Get over here, Ronan, or get away from me, Ronan. But as far as like, do I need him to do like a downstay for 3 hours on command? No. Next.
We like to hug him too.
Yes.
How do you deal with nasty neighbors who complain about old dog poop from weeks ago?
Well, you should clean up the dog poop, I guess. I mean, if it's your dog poop, then you should be cleaning up behind you.
If it's not your dog poop,
if it's not your dog poop, that's a different story. But if it was on my yard, if it was on my property, I'd clean it up. Next.
I have 2 puppies. Should I separate them when it comes to training?
Yeah, absolutely. What you do is you separate them and work them by themselves, and then work them off of each other. You want to make sure that you've got puppies separated, or else you would have a lot of separation anxiety from these dogs. So that's really, really important. Next.
Will the bonker towel work for big dogs?
Yes, it will. Next. I bonked 200-pound dogs before. Next. And in the UK, it's not what you think. Next.
3-year-old dog bites playfully often.
Okay. So to me, a dog should never put its mouth on you at all. That would warrant a punisher. Next.
10-year-old Yorkie suddenly very possessive of toys, etc. Very snappy.
So it could be just build up over the years. The dog might be having health problems. 10 years old, give the dog a medical check. But it can be punished like any other dog. Any dog that you would teach the dog no. Next.
We're looking forward to have Hope trained by your team.
Awesome. Looking forward to it too.
Hello, Jeff and Linda. It's been a while, and I miss you guys.
That sounds like
all of your great advice.
That sounds like a Stephanie. Yep.
It's Stephanie. How's it going, Steph?
Next.
My dog has been having issues with separation anxiety. When we're gone, he is crated. New behavior.
Watch something might have happened when he was crated. Watch my video on separation anxiety. Follow it to the T. Next.
Do you leave e-collar on dogs at all times?
No, you don't. Don't leave. You should only have to move them every 4 to 6 hours. Never leave them on when they're not supervised at all. And it's a training tool. Next.
How to stop dogs digging up my yard?
That would be a remote collar. That would be a high correction. So what you would do is you would remote collars on the dog. You're inside. The dog's outside. It starts digging a hole in the ground, and you make it. You let the dog give a high enough correction that it sucks to dig holes in the ground. And I've heard all this stuff. Fill the holes with water. Put poop in the holes. Blah 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 blah. You make digging suck to the dog. The dog stops digging. Next.
Dry food or wet mix? Do you honestly suck?
Okay, so I do the raw diet. So again, I'm not a nutrition expert at all. My dogs are on the raw diet. Most dry kibble is not nutritionally sound. Wet food is sort of like a waste. It's all 85 to 90% water. So look into the raw diet, or talk to a holistic vet, or talk to somebody that specializes in nutrition. But that's not your normal vet who has no nutritional knowledge historically. Next.
When do I start using a tieback for duration plays?
Tieback is a good, helpful tool while the dog is learning duration around distractions or when you leave the room. Next.
What's best for a large dog? Chew bone?
I use raw bones. So I use raw bones. Don't do please don't do pig ears, and don't do rawhide. So I just go and I get just raw bones from the butcher shop. Next. Femur, uncooked. Next.
Was feeling hopeless and deflated with my hard-headed puppy until I found you.
Awesome.
Saved our relationship and my sanity.
Awesome.
Can't
so
thank
good.
you enough for sharing your knowledge.
So proud of you for putting in the work. I'm just giving you the information. You guys are putting in the work. So proud of you. Next.
Thank you, Jeff. I truly appreciate all you do.
Thank you for consuming my content. Next.
Let's see. Is it okay for dogs to have bones or toys while in place?
Yes, it is. Who am I? Art, go to my bio. Okay, this is a dog training show. Go to my bio, click on my link of Solid Canine Training, and you can learn all about me. You can also sit there and listen. People are asking dog training questions, and I'm giving them dog training answers. But if you want to know more about me, just go to solidcaninetraining.com, and you can learn all about what I do and the work we do. All right, next.
Is it easy to train a Chippeparai? What's that?
I don't know, but yeah. So you're welcome, Art. Thanks for welcome and thank you. So this is the thing. All dogs can be trained once you find their motivation. So find their motivation and you'll be fine. Next.
Um,
We're getting a lot of questions, guys. If it seems like we haven't answered your question, it's there. Don't worry, we're getting to it.
Best thing I learned from here is not feel bad about creating a dog.
Yeah, definitely not.
When out of sight.
No, it'll save your sanity. Next.
I have a 2-year-old black lab. He wants to meet every animal he sees. We use a choke chain.
Okay, so I don't train on choke chains. I think choke chains are hard to train on. They're hard to master. Once a dog goes past the pull threshold, all you are doing is choking the dog, and you're not communicating with the dog. So I'm not a big fan of dogs meeting a lot of different dogs. It's not socialization, especially when your dog's on leash. It's not a good idea. So because you don't know about the behavior of the other dog. No matter how good your dog is, you don't know about the behavior of the other dog. So what you want to do is keep your dog next to you in a proper heel, and then just go about your business. So if you're using a choke chain, I would look into a prong collar. It's going to give you a lot more control, better communication, and it's a far superior tool to train with than a choke chain. Next.
Positive reinforcement is the best for training, don't you think?
I think positive reinforcement without aversive control is good, but positive reinforcement can't stop unwanted behaviors. It's impossible. It can't be done. Anybody that says that it can be done is lying to you, a fraud, or just not knowledgeable about animal behavior or about how to train something or stop something. It's impossible to do. So if you only do positive reinforcement, which we do a ton of, that's how we get dogs to do what we want, but it is impossible to stop an unwanted behavior. So I think a balanced training method is far superior to get results, and you can't stop even jumping with positive reinforcement. It's impossible. Next.
Dog walks well on lead in house and front yard, but loses focus when we go out. How can I keep focus?
So what you're going to do is you're going to become a little bit more valuable to your dog. So what happens is as soon as you leave your yard, there's tons of environmentals out there. There's whether it's just the wind or a leaf or, then you've got all kinds of animals crawling around and then you've got movement. So what happens a lot of times is you don't become that important to your dog anymore. So what I would do is I would make sure you're using a tool that will help you leverage the training, such as a prong collar or a remote collar, and then I would practice having that dog pay better attention to you off leash. And what you can do is I've got a 180 move that you can watch on my YouTube channel that'll help you get that. Plus also teach the dog remote collar heel. Next.
Hi from Pennsylvania.
Hey, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be Nazareth, Pennsylvania again. Next.
Jeff, thank you. In November, my dog was attacked by a blue-nosed pit bull off leash. I kicked the pit.
Good job. Excellent.
I don't know what this is in response to. Awesome. We want her to do place and be polite. She's 1 year old, but definitely difficult to teach. So
if the dog is difficult to teach, you just haven't figured out the motivation for the dog. So 99.9% dogs out there are, I don't want to say easy to teach, but they're easy enough to teach. For basic commands. Remember, I'm a family pet dog trainer. So I'm a family pet dog trainer. Sport dog is different. Trick training is different. Agility is different. Sport is different. Protection work is different. But for family pets, it's relatively simple to do. Next.
I wouldn't have known what to do if not for you.
About the kicking of the dog. Yeah. Anytime a dog comes at you off leash, you have to neutralize the threat. Next.
Signs for fighting when introducing to another dog.
There's a lot of signs. There's too many variables. You have to know everything about the other dog. I mean, not everything. You don't have to know its freaking birthday or favorite food, but you've got to know a lot about the other dog, the dog behavior, the dog's history, if it's gotten into fights before, and then you've got to know what your dog's ability is. Also, what's the energy of the humans in the room? Are the dogs on leash? Are the dogs off leash? There's so many variables in there. I would hate to give you the advice that says, don't worry about that, but you missed it. But obviously, dogs barking at each other are not good. Hackles up does not always mean a fight. Excuse me. Tail wagging does not always mean happiness. So to us, we do it by feel. We can tell when dogs are going to fight. So we advocate for them. We do a lot of socialization periscopes on our on Periscope, and then we also put them up on our YouTube channel. Next.
Can we have Linda's rib recipe?
No, you can't. Next.
Hello, love you. Thank you for all your expertise.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for consuming.
Someday I will give that recipe out. Just taught my dog to stay and hold with treat on his nose, then flip his nose and catch it.
Awesome. That's something I don't do that at all. It has no value in my life, but I think it's fine to do. It's great. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I work on stuff that keeps dogs in homes, but that's an awesome thing to do. It's actually fun to do for your dog. I've seen the photos, but that's not like nobody asks us to train that stuff, so we don't do it. But make a video on how you did it, and then give that video away for free so other people can enjoy that too, because it looks like a lot of fun. Next.
Should get Angela to do that.
Yep.
When I'm working on place command with my 4 dogs, should I keep the others in their crates while we work?
For now, yes. Yep, for now, yes, and eventually you'll be putting them in place. Hey, Turkey, how are you? Hey, Moscow, how are you? Don't put them. Next.
Is the separation video on your website? Sorry, I haven't been on for a while.
It's on my YouTube channel. Next.
Seattle, Washington trip anytime soon?
I was talking to somebody about doing a Seattle seminar this past week, so I might be announcing something. I'm shooting for July. If I do it. If I do Seattle, it'll be in July. I've got 20 seminars around North America scheduled already for the 2018. Next.
A greyhound attacked my Great Dane, and my dog got blamed because she's bigger. No one will let their dog play with mine in the local dog park.
You should be going to dog parks anyway. Dog parks are horrific places to go, not only for bad animal behavior, but also for health. So find yourself maybe some dog friends, if it's important to you, and create your own little social group by yourself. Please stay out of dog parks. Next.
Any specific e-collar you recommend? I have pet.
Yeah, the mini educator. Get the mini educator. We have them on our website, but you don't have to buy them from us. You can buy them on Amazon. I think Amazon's got them for $20 to $30 cheaper. Next.
When healing, is it okay for dog to pass my knee a bit, or is he supposed to be behind my knee?
Personal choice. Next.
Do you leave prong collar on at all times? Example, e-collar, prong collar, and regular collar.
You can, not all times. All times would be 24 hours a day. So you never have a prong collar on when the dog's in the crate and never when unsupervised. Next.
When dog shows teeth, is it aggressive when the rest of the body looks relaxed?
It can be and it cannot be. Next.
How do you feel about rawhide bones? Are they bad for dogs?
Rawhides are horrific for dogs. Get yourself a proper bone. Get yourself an actual femur bone from the butcher. Next.
Dog smells like corn chips. How often to wash? Once a week?
That's a grooming question. I actually do not know. Next.
The dogs walk perfect on a choke chain until he sees another dog. I correct hard, but he doesn't care.
Don't use a choke chain. Choke chains are very difficult to train dogs with, and you actually do cause damage because it chokes the dog. Where a prong collar, as barbaric as a prong collar looks, they actually don't choke dogs. It's extremely difficult to harm a dog on a prong collar, as barbaric as they are, even if you used it wrong. So get yourself a prong collar. Your life will dramatically change for the better. Next.
What can you say about coaching Pomeranian? I'm watching you from Moscow.
So Pomeranian, as far as the Pomeranian is concerned, little dogs train up just like big little dogs.
Big dogs.
Like big little dogs. So what you can do in Moscow is I would do all food clicker training for yes. And for no, you can do little leash corrections, or you can use something called a bonker, which is a wrapped up towel. But you can train up your Pomeranian just like any other dog. Next.
Punish lifting front legs off the ground as if about to jump, but doesn't jump.
Yes.
Out of excitement.
Yes. Next. Four paws on the ground. Next.
Hi from Connecticut.
Hey, Connecticut. CT, what's up? Connecticut's in the house.
Renee says hi. Hi,
hey, Renee.
Dog only wants a toy that other dog has. How do you correct?
Don't let it do it. Don't let it do it. When it goes over to get the other toy, teach you what no means. Next. You do that with a remote collar. Next.
Dog showing teeth during grooming. Should I correct?
I would. It just, all of that is just information. It's just information. It tells you your dog is uncomfortable with something. So, I would, and groomers are really good dog handlers too. Groomers are really good dog handlers. So right now I'd muzzle up your dog just for your safety, but absolutely I would do that. Next.
Jeff, I sent you a PM. I need to find a trainer in Rumsford, Maine. Any recommendations?
Off the top of my head, there's somebody I know. I think his name is Josh. And I'll respond to your PM. Next.
Hi, Jeff and Linda.
Hello.
Showed your jumping video to my brother for his 1-year-old pit. Dog doesn't jump on his baby anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because we don't want dogs jumping on any baby, no matter what the breed is. Next.
I have a 10-day-old baby and 11-month-old dog. When to introduce?
10-day-old baby, wait at least 6 months to a year. And that doesn't mean they can't be in the same room, but there's no rush. So Angelo was around dogs at 48 hours old, but he didn't touch a dog or interact with a dog until he was 8 months old. A lot of it has to do with the dog's behavior. So I want that dog to learn a really, really great down and a really, really great place. That's what I want them to do. All right, next.
How to stop a dog wanting to come onto the couch?
Teach it that trying to come on the couch sucks. So you would punish that. Now, then you would also then teach your dog to go lie down somewhere else. But teaching your dog to lie down somewhere else, that doesn't stop your dog from coming up on the couch. Remember, anytime you want to stop your dog from doing something, there has to be punishments. That's what it does. So that would be a remote collar. So if I was sitting on a couch and I had a dog that I was trying to get on the couch, I would say no and use a bonker and throw the bonker at them, or I would say no and use a remote collar. Next.
Are you going to the IACP conference? If you are, I hope to see you there. I'm planning on going.
I don't know what my schedule is going to be looking like. Next.
Training with e-collar at some point? Will they listen to commands without e-collar?
Oh, of course they are. The big thing about people that are anti-e-collar are saying, oh, well, then the dog, that's not what, I'm not saying that you are saying that, oh, then the dog always has to have it on. That's not true at all. That's actually not true at all. The goal is for your dog to be underneath voice control. Whether you use food or aversives, the goal of dog training is for your dog to be under voice control. That's the goal. To stop rewarding your dog through a training aid, such as food, to do something, or through a punishment through an aversive. That's the goal. But the cool thing about a remote collar is it's on. If you need it, you have it. And when are you going to need it? When the dog's probably chasing the deer is when you're probably going to need it. So we're in no rush. But as far as getting the dog to prompt, command, that's just during the training and learning stage. Once the dog has learned, you're all set. Next.
Does resource guarding only with other dogs? Best to just teach out command?
You can teach out or no. Or if it depends what it's guarding. If it's guarding its food dish, you should be feeding dogs separately. If it's guarding toys, you can make sure that the other dogs understand. I have no problem. If a dog is chewing a bone and one of your other family dogs walks up to it, I have no problem with the bone chewing dog to growl. That other dog should back away. If the other dog doesn't back away, that other dog would actually be corrected because the dog is saying, hey, get away from my bone. Now that's dog, same species interaction. Different species interactions, such as human as dog, I'm allowed to get the bone. Next.
Couldn't walk any dog till we got the prong collar. Herm Springer, thank you so much.
Awesome, good.
What is the best way to correct dog for showing teeth during, we did that already. Yep. Would you be willing to come to El Paso, Texas, if I can find a venue?
No, because I'm in Austin, Texas. So I'm in Austin, Texas, and then El Paso, I'm in Tucson, Arizona. So I'm already in Austin, Texas, and then I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and I know you're in the middle. That doesn't mean I won't come to El Paso, Texas, but I'm drivable to both those locations for you. It's a good drive. I think it's like a 10-hour drive to Austin. I'm not sure how it is to Tucson. Next.
If my dog only eats raw meat and not kibble, would I have to use the raw meat for training purposes?
You probably would want to. You could use kibble if you want to, or you can get dehydrated meat. You can do the dehydrated meat. Next, or dehydrated like anything. Next.
Off-leash dog responds okay. When distracted, won't listen and runs after small game animals.
So that's where remote collar training will really help dramatically. Next.
Just got a 6-month-old. Mix in for basic. He shows resource guarding with food. Best, quickest advice.
Oh, just set him up and teach him out. Teach him no. Best thing to do right off the bat. 6-month-old, the dog is food guarding already. You want to eliminate that at any age, but especially 6 months. Next.
What is the correct size prong collar for a 5-month-old Doberman puppy?
You're going to end up with a 2.25 millimeter and probably start adding links to it. Next.
How to stop my excitement going outside. He spins around and barks, waits at the threshold, but too hyped up to go out.
So this is what you're going to do, and a lot of people are going to struggle with this answer. You're actually going to punish the dog for that level of excitement, because if you don't, you're going to have problems probably on the walk. So I like the fact that my dogs like to go out for a walk too. So what do? Is you can right at the threshold, right at the door. Yes, you can use an e-collar for that. You can also use a bonker for that. Next.
We will see you in Arizona playing flirt pole while listening.
Awesome. Good job.
My dog is a goat and can eat anything. Will out when he has something bad eventually transfer to not eating bad stuff at all?
It could. I would just keep your dog from eating stuff up off the ground. But yes, out means literally like don't do that. Or do no. Do no if you want to. Switch it to no. Anytime the dog eats anything off the ground, say no with a high-level correction. Don't even say out. Next.
My dog prefers to lay with my disabled mom. Is it possible he knows she's ill and wants to protect her?
Don't look at it as a protection thing. Look at it as maybe a comforting thing. Comforted thing. Yeah. Next.
We already answered about what you feed your dog.
Yeah, my dogs are on the raw diet. But don't take nutritional advice from me. Definitely do your own research. That's not my level of expertise. Don't even answer that. Because that's all right. So my name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. You can go to solidcaninetraining.com. what you can also do is go to my seminar site, which is rvdogtrainer.com, rvdogtrainer.com. I tour the country doing dog training seminars. I think my next one, I think I'm in Providence, I'm in Baltimore. I'm in, actually probably my next one is in South Carolina. Karen, 9 plots. All right. What do we got there for questions?
Nothing right now.
All right.
Just waiting.
There we go.
When do you use the vibration feature and the tone feature on the e-collar?
I never use those at all, Happy Life. I never use those at all. So why? Because the thing about the vibration feature is it can't go up or down. Can't go up or down. And also a lot of dogs will freak out at the vibration feature because it's too powerful right from the beginning. So the way we train on remote collars is we start them on lower levels, and we do pressure on, pressure off. You can't do that with vibration. Tone, I never use tone at all. Tone has no meaning to the dog. You have to teach what tone actually does mean. So tone doesn't mean anything to a dog. None of the controls mean anything to the dog until you actually train it. But we just use the shock feature. Next.
Jeff, why don't you tell people how to find out where you're going to be?
So a lot of people are also asking where I'm going to be. All you have to do is go to rvdogtrainer.com and you'll see where I'll be. My full calendar is on there. Is on there. So you should absolutely do that.
And they can buy tickets too, right?
You can buy tickets. That's why I'm sending you there. So you can find out where it is, and you can also buy tickets. Yeah, because I actually don't even know all the dates off the top of my head, the exact dates. Next.
Always great advice from you guys. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Jeff, good videos. Like how you don't take shit and how you are true when you don't know some stuff.
Oh God, yeah, there's a ton of stuff I don't know, and I'm not going to bullshit you on. I'm not going to bullshit you on. I'm not going to lie to you on. I can't stand that. There's a lot of unethical behavior in dog training. Also, egos. I've got a huge ego, but I'm always going to be. I don't look at it as that. I just know stuff, and I'm going to share that. And if people are putting out false information, I'm not going to attack that. It's not my MO. But if you ask me a question, I'm going to give you the exact answer, and I only give you answers of things that we've done hundreds or sometimes thousands of times. Next, we work with a lot of dogs. Next.
Is T3 1 week long?
T3 is 1 week long. The next one is in February. Next.
Mom's Great Pyrenees attacked my 13-pound dog. They played before fine, but attack came from nowhere. First, then what? Yeah, existing first. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from somewhere. You just didn't see the signs because you're not the expert. You're not supposed to see the signs. So right now, since there's such a huge weight difference, thanks Jay Phelps for the Super Heart, by the way. There's such a weight difference. I'd right now keep them separated until you get some professional help. Next. Let's see. My dog freaks out on the treadmill. Tried to work through, but it pants and screams. Any advice?
Yeah, I mean, I've got videos on how to do it. I mean, without physically being there, other than the help on the video that I can show you how to do it. But we absolutely have a lot of dogs that hate the treadmill at first, and then they learn to like the treadmill, and some of them even love the treadmill. The panting is just stress. The panting is stress and nervous. Just put it at a good 2.5 mile per hour pace, maybe up to 3 mile per hour pace. Stick with it. Be close to the dog. Hold the leash. Get the dog to do it 3 to 5 minutes at a time, and then build up. Next.
You guys are great. I look forward to these Q&As every week.
Next.
Ever consider business building seminar, not dog related?
I do business building consulting. That's sort of how I make a living. I mean, how I make a living is literally what I'm doing here, but just giving much longer, detailed answers. That's what I do. But we're talking about doing, Sean O'Shea from The Good Dog. And if you don't know, his dog Belle passed, died either today or yesterday. Belle was 13 years old, I believe, at least 13 years old. And she's a wonderful, wonderful dog. So if you're a fan of Sean and you haven't been on his page today, make sure you jump on there and show your recognition and your condolences to Belle. But we do a building business workshop. We're talking about doing one down in New Orleans at some point pretty soon. I do business building consulting all the time. In fact, I just did a 2-hour consult with somebody in the religious religious scheme and realm of things. So business is business, social media is social media. Next. Yeah. Yep. So all three of his dogs that I've known him since have all passed now. All his original dogs are dead. Yeah, it really sucks. It really sucks. Next.
How should I introduce 8-week-old puppy to crate and handle first nights of whining?
Just put the dog in and walk away. You're going to have to take the dog 8 weeks old, probably every 2 to 3 hours. You're going to have to take the dog outside. There was one about you've got a 15-year-old dog that's the dachshund that's peeing all over the place. Should you put it down? I'm not going to recommend you put any dog down without working the dog. I won't recommend that, especially on a Periscope program. I don't even do that on a phone call. I would only recommend that if I actually work with a dog. But that's very rare that would happen with the thousands of dogs. What I would do is I would do containment though. So I would do containment, but if you're a 15-year-old dog, if it's peeing everywhere, if you said it can't find the pee pads, so if it's blind, it might be deaf, it might be going, that's going to be a personal decision on you about quality of life, not just of the dog, but also the family. But don't give the dog so much free roam. Maybe what I would do is keep the dog in maybe a larger crate and then take the dog for walks. So I don't do pee pads, but if you want to do pee pads, that's fine. Have your pee pads in one area, maybe in an X pen. An X pen is just an open pen, a smaller area. Have the pee pads in one area, have the sleeping area in another, and then you can take it for walks or interact with it outside. All right, next.
Love you guys, and you've been a godsend.
Good. Thank you. Awesome.
How do you increase duration work?
A little bit at a time. You do it a little bit at a time, and then you're going to increase it through punishment. Believe it or not, the more rewards you give a dog will not keep it on place when the doorbell rings or when a squirrel goes by. So once the dog knows something, the way you get them to do it is then through aversive control, which is through punishment. The dog doesn't stay there because it's afraid of being punished. What the dog does is it understands that if it does break a command, there's a punishment delivered. So a lot of people have it mixed up backwards. So my dogs aren't staying, in command because they're afraid of me. They're staying there because they know that's what they're supposed to do. Next. And it's not just my dogs, but our client dogs as well. Next.
Brought puppy home. Took our time getting them together, but older dogs shows dominance all the time. That's because that's what dogs do. So it's up to you to advocate for both. So advocate for both. Next. Yeah, we feel sad for Sean too.
Yep, and I don't know. Someone asked if it was natural causes. Belle was having seizures lately, a lot of them. So, you know what I mean? It was, the dog didn't get into an accident. So there was no accident or anything like that. So the dog died of, complications from old age. You know what I mean? So that's probably it. But you'd want to jump on Sean's page because he knows all the details. Next.
In heel, sees something, ears perk up, but self-corrects half the time. Should I correct every time?
Yes. Next.
Free Skypes, not a go for 2018?
No, that was 2017. I did over 400 free 15-minute Skypes. Free. Over 400 of them. Only 218 of them made it up, but I did over 400 of them. This year's free stuff is tons of free. It's my dog training, my What Would Jeff Do dog training tip of the day. Today we just put up dog training tip number 17. We did it about spay and neuter. That's what I'm giving back to the world, but also putting out thousands and thousands of hours of free content this year. Next.
Love your WWJD series on Facebook.
There you go. It's also on YouTube and Instagram. And if you notice on Instagram, it's on a brand new format. If you're not on my Instagram page, guys, jump on my Instagram page. Instagram stories is fantastic. Instagram stories is killing it. So if you're not on my Instagram page, you're going to want to jump on. Just follow me on Instagram. Check out my Instagram stories. And I put a lot of different content on there. Next.
You guys going to spend winter in Florida?
No, we are not. Next.
Dog knows command but breaks when excited. Correction not high enough?
Correct. Yes, your correction is not high enough. You are correct.
How to recognize protective behavior versus dominant behavior when around strange dogs, when to correct?
Well, it's a lot of it's contextual. So if you're walking your dog and other dogs are around and your dog starts just like being protective over you, I don't want that. I don't need my dogs to be protecting me. I can take care of myself. And if I can't, good dogs, go to town. But you're probably not going to need your dog's help. So I would correct that. Next.
Love your daily tips.
Awesome. Thank you.
Starring Angelo, someone
Yes,
said.
that's the Instagram story starring Angelo. Yep.
Should I correct puppy when she is in older dog's face too much, or should I let older dog correct her?
Ideally, the older dog will correct her. If the older dog doesn't, then yes, you want to correct the puppy next. And that doesn't mean like in 3 seconds. I had a dog, Uma, one of my dogs that's not with us anymore. She was a great puppy raiser. She was so fair to puppies. She was so good. She absolutely told puppies that enough is enough. And she never did it out of like any sort of like, you know, anger, if you want to humanize it at all. But she had no problem telling a puppy to go F itself. And
she took no shit.
She took no shit, but she was always fair to puppies. Always fair to puppies. She was great. Like the week before she died, she helped with some puppy raising and she helped rehab an aggressive dog. And I think she died about 4 days later. She helped them in Austin, Texas at a seminar, and then she died like right after that. In fact, if you go to jeffspack.com, the header photo is her with 2 puppies following her that she was actually helping out with. So yeah, little Uma, no more. She's not with us anymore.
She was a little girl.
Yeah.
That's it right now.
What time is it? 8:30. Yeah. All right. All right, guys. This is it. We're all set. We're done. It's been a great show. My name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. Thank you all for tuning in. If you missed any of this replay, it goes up onto YouTube in about 3 days, but you can watch the Periscope. You can watch the Periscope replay as soon as we log off. I can't thank you all enough. We're on at least once a week. We're on only once a week. So you'll catch us next time. It could be Monday, it could be Tuesday, it could be Wednesday. We're not quite sure. Both of our schedules are getting really, really busy these days. But again, thank you all. And I appreciate you all so much. I appreciate your line of questioning so much. And it's really, really just fantastic to have you here. And thank you for consuming all the material. And for all of you guys that are struggling out there, don't worry. Stick to it. You'll get it. I'm not a magician. My trainers are highly skilled at the training centers, but we're not magicians. We put out all of our information out for free with no obligation of financial gain whatsoever. So you just have to consume that information and then apply that information, and you'll be fine. I know you will. All right. Madly in love with you. Thank you all, and have a fantastic night. Bye-bye. Thank you, YouTube. Love you.